Good evening. Welcome to another episode of
Love Seat Dialogue.
Hey, before we get started, we just want to take this time and just thank everybody who's been supporting us so far.
Yeah.
All the love we've been getting. Everything from you guys look so good on camera, so natural. We love your chemistry together. To there's so much wisdom coming from you two. So just salute and thank y'all to everybody who had a chance to check us out. This is episode 3, and we just kicking it with y'all like we kick it on the norm.
Yeah.
Man. So how you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell everybody about our weekend?
So we had the grandbaby this weekend, our grandson. We had him from
Wednesday.
evening
Yeah.
to yesterday. Actually, he left this morning. Today is Monday. He's a handful. He's a joy to be with, a joy to watch him grow. But man, I always said babies are for the young.
For the young, right? He's not even 10 months old yet, y'all, and he is walking.
Yes.
Like he is trying to do all the things.
Yes, he is.
He's trying to get into everything already. I'm talking about on his own 2 feet. But I called it months ago. I think it was probably about 2 months ago. I was like, he's going to be walking way before he's 1.
Yeah.
Because during that time, what I've noticed is he'll get close to something like a wall or anything he can hold or grab, and he'll just stand up and hold and stay there. And he'll try to take a step, and he'll fall, and he'll just stand up and for a while, and then he'll just sit back down. I say, man, he's determined.
Yes, he is.
To walk.
Yes, he is. But did you forget? Like I forgot about how active babies can be.
Yeah.
So watching him, I'm like, wait a minute, is he supposed to be doing that? And he very well could be, but our daughter's gonna be 28 this year.
Yeah. 28.
I totally forgot about all the things. And we haven't really been around babies like that a lot.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
So he's testing everything. Our patience, our stamina for just being up and being active with him because he's active.
I know, because I'm a little sore today.
You sore?
I'm sore.
Yeah.
And just, man, all the things.
Yeah, so he wore us out a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I can't wait until we get our hands on him again. Just his love. He's so sweet and cuddly, and he like to kiss on you, and he's trying to talk a little bit. He can't say words yet, but he definitely got a lot to say. So it's gonna be very interesting.
Right, it's
to
a lot.
See him.
It's a lot of baby talk.
Yeah.
So, but it's gonna be interesting. So that's his next thing. He trying to say some words.
Yes.
So. Interesting to see this little man grow up, to say the least.
Yeah.
We enjoyed time with him this weekend.
Yeah.
And we also enjoyed time with our daughter.
Yes.
Of course. She wasn't with us the whole time. She actually went to Texas for the weekend. And she came back night before.
She came back late Saturday evening.
Right? So we got a chance to spend Saturday night with her and all of Sunday. And just a joy, man, to be around family.
Yeah.
When we all get together, we don't get a chance to do it often as we would like because they're in Indianapolis, we're in Gary, and we got our own lives, but it's always a joy when we get together, y'all. So that was our weekend, a joyous time with our family and with our grandchild.
Yeah.
Man, let's talk about some good shows we might have checked out lately. During this time, my daughter didn't see the second part to the Kanye documentary because we've been checking out Kanye's documentary lately. It's on Netflix. If you haven't watched it yet, it's called Genius, but it's spelled like Jeen. So if you haven't had a chance, check it out. Not going to give you... Not going to give away the whole documentary or what it's about, but it's basically about his journey through the music industry. And what was genius about it to me within itself was the fact that he had a cameraman, which is from Chicago, follow him for over 20 years. This is like over 20 years of footage, y'all. I'm talking about from the beginning of his career, before he got with The Rock, when he was a producer and had the hunger to
Yeah.
rap.
Wow.
And they showcase his journey all through trying to get people to take him serious, not just as a producer, but as a rapper.
Hmm.
And what was the beauty about the documentary that you noticed?
Just his resilience.
Yeah,
Oh my, he is the definition of resilience. Like he just does not give up. He does not give up. And honestly, just watching him, it inspires me. Because I think a lot of times we just call it quits.
yeah. The
We
average
not,
person.
but the average person not gonna keep knocking on doors and people keep telling you no, or keep walking away, or just like, I don't want to do a spoiler, but the average person is not gonna go through the things that Kanye went through and still be who he is today. And so I think, um, just in watching that, I want everybody to see it. When Legend is old enough to understand, I want him to see it, because he's just,
Yeah, there's so many jewels
oh
in
my
that
goodness.
documentary. Just from a man knowing his purpose from the
Hmm.
beginning, knowing what he wanted out of life, and not taking no
Hmm.
for an answer, like, and creating his own ways to get it too. It was so many things that I really didn't know,
Yeah.
to that degree or detail,
Hmm.
until I watched this. I was like, wow, he did that. He made that happen. He didn't even have a budget for this, but he still did this.
Yes.
Um, I was like, man, it's like she said, it's very inspirational.
Yeah. But then
Um,
also watching his relationship with his mom, it's just like,
yeah,
oh my goodness. And I cried a few times watching it. Not just me thinking about, oh, it's sad his mom's not here anymore, but just the relationship,
yeah,
um his admiration for her and hers for him,
yeah,
and the genuine love that just, oh my god, it just oozes off the screen. Just watching them is like, oh,
yeah. It's like undeniable. Like
yeah.
you can see that it was a genuine, loving relationship.
She was his
Um,
cheerleader.
she was his cheerleader. Like
Mhm.
she was Kanye's biggest fan,
Mhm.
and I believe he was hers.
Yeah.
And you saw that on the screen just during a little time. She don't have a whole lot of parts in the documentary, but the parts that she does show up in is so genuine, so natural, and it's emotional.
Yeah.
Like man, all you have this feeling like all mothers should cheerlead their children
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
All mothers should believe and stand behind the dream of their child like that. Like she was an example of, yes, I believed in you. I believed in you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push you to greatness. I'm gonna speak life over you. You saw all of that, and not only her, but you also seen that from his cameraman. Again, I don't want to. I'm not gonna. We're not gonna tell you too much more of the documentary, but just say this: the camera guy met Kanye. They both from Chicago, and he dropped what he was doing with his life to document Kanye's life. Imagine the faith that brother had to have in another brother and his partner to not even know what this footage was going to ever become.
Yes.
Not even know what Kanye was going to become, but he believed in him and he stood by him. And they took this ride together. And all these years later, it's a Netflix special. It's a blockbuster too. To me, this is probably one of the best documentaries I've seen in a very, very long time.
Another thing that that brings me joy
What's that?
is that Kanye, we're watching it and Kanye is still alive. He's not dead.
That's yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he getting his flowers while he can still
Yeah.
smell them, right?
Mhm.
And also, just thinking about that, right? Imagine how he might be viewing it. Like how emotional he might get watching him and his mom interact on camera.
Oh my goodness.
You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And it might bring him back some sense of who he was during that time and where he
I
was
hope
during that
so.
time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a special documentary, man. I encourage everybody who get a chance to check it out. I think that you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that you will notice a lot of jewels in it. Maybe you can take some life lessons from it and encourage your kids to check it out
Mm-hmm.
because it can be educational as well.
Yeah.
Very educational. So I guess that brings us to our topic we want to talk about this evening. It still takes a village. That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
It still takes a village. Because even during that documentary, it was a village around Kanye. You know, not just his mom. When he left Chicago and went to New York to pursue his music dreams, he still had people from Chicago with him, and he still had supporters that was just riding with him till the wheels fall off. Starting with the camera guy. No one makes it alone. It takes
Yeah.
a village, and that's one of the things that I noticed in this documentary. How special it is, and how important it is to have real friends and establish real relationships and just ride it out with some real people. Another show we've been checking out was, or is, I should say, Bel Air.
Bel Air. Y'all remember the Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
Yeah. So if you didn't know, they remade it.
Yeah.
And Will Smith is actually an executive producer on the new show.
Yeah. It's not a comedy, it's a dramedy. Not even a dramedy because it's not
Not funny at all.
not funny at all.
Right, right. It's really a
But
drama
it's
now.
real. It's real.
It's a drama now.
Yeah.
But the theme of it is still the same, right? He got into a fight in Philly,
Mm-hmm.
and his mother sent him out to live with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. And so that premise of it is still the same,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a comedy; it's a drama. And all the actors, man, they do a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal job. Yes.
Phenomenal job.
Yeah.
We like the storyline so far, but just taking that aspect of, he was in a dangerous neighborhood and situation in Philadelphia that could have cost him his life,
Yeah.
but it didn't at the time. But his mother saw value in him and didn't want to put her child in danger.
Yeah.
Didn't want her child to stay no longer in Philadelphia because of the situation that he got himself in. She didn't know if he was going to end up dead or in jail. So she sent them to Bel Air to live with her sister and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And that alone, that's a village, right? That's a village. It takes a village to raise a child. We're in an era right now, and it's been like this for quite some time, where we don't really believe or we don't encourage the village anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We actually encourage an individualistic lifestyle, an individualistic, like, mind your business type upbringing.
Yeah. It's my child.
It's my child. You better not say nothing to him. You better not touch him.
Mm-hmm.
This is the society that we live in right now. But for me personally, my personal opinion, I won't speak for my wife. I think that we are a much worse society than we were back then when it was a village.
Mm-hmm.
The society today, it's a lot more evil. It's a lot more disrespectful children because we're not the village anymore. It still takes a village to raise a child. Let's talk about how it was in your neighborhood when you grew up. Take us to the east side, Gary, Indiana.
Growing up on the east side.
Yeah, what was your community like? Or did you have a community? What was it like over
We
there?
did. My street on 22nd and Ohio Street, it was, we know all the neighbors. We had Miss Hayes next door. We had the Bushes across the street. We had man Shady down the street. Who we called him Shady, not because he was shady, but that was just his nickname.
Oh.
And he had his yard was always manicured, and we could not better not step on Mr. Shady's grass, or you was gonna be in trouble. Okay. Um, we weren't allowed to walk in people's grass, to drive our bikes in people's grass, and the street and the sidewalk was for that. If your neighbor saw you in trouble, they was gonna chastise you, or you might get a spanking before you get home. That's just
Yeah.
how it was. But it was still a community. Like Miss Hayes always had ice cream for us,
Yeah.
so we knew, she was gonna call us. Come here, Gail. Come get some of this ice cream.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Man, it was just a beautiful time.
So did Miss Hayes and Mr. Shady, did they know your mom or anybody in your
Oh,
house?
for sure. Yeah, we would go next door to Miss Hayes' house, and we walk down the street. We take walks.
Yeah.
That was back in the day when the candy store was around the corner.
Yeah.
So even from, I would say, Ohio Street to Virginia Street, everybody knew each other. Walking to school in the morning was fun because, like, on the way to school, and it was a long walk from 22nd and Ohio to Ville.
Man.
But walking, we enjoyed it because along the way, it was like 25 of us. Once we keep hitting the neighborhoods, like keep going every street, two more people come out.
Yeah.
So it was just cool, man. It was good times. Yeah.
So your neighborhood pretty much sound like the neighborhood I grew up in on the west side. 23rd and Wilson is where I actually grew up. And we had a community there as well. Everybody knew everybody. Actually, I stayed on my mom and grandmom, aunts, and all us come from one house. We stayed on one block. My dad and my other grandmother and my aunts and uncles up there stayed on the next block. And actually, I had a sister on the next street.
Wow.
So, but in the same, just like your neighborhood, in our neighborhood, everybody knew everybody. Like I was Billy's son or I was Emma's son, depending on what street I was on, what block.
Yeah.
But I was. They knew what house I belonged to, what family I belonged to.
Yeah.
Whoever house I went over, I was not a stranger to them. They didn't want. They asked me if I was thirsty, if I was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
We had candy stores all throughout our neighborhood that we could walk in the house and, and we knew the candy woman.
The candy
woman, yeah. Actually, we had a candy store on the next street. It was Mr. and Mrs. Reese. Mm-hmm. They was an older couple, a husband and wife. Candy store, staple in the neighborhood. And then we had a candy store a couple of blocks up the street, which was on David and them block, Mr. Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Mr. Bruce was the OG candy store in our neighborhood. We walk up there, he's been doing it for like generations at this time. So, but we had legendary candy stores in our neighborhood.
You get those pickles and peppermint sticks?
I didn't do that. That was more of
a girl thing.
That was more of a girl thing.
Sorry.
But I had the little cookies with the little strawberry frosting on top.
Yeah, I like the lemon.
And the lemon frosting.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like the little chocolate chip. I ain't really like them that much.
No, I didn't like them either.
Not that. I didn't like them that much. And I like the sour cherries and the Sour Patch Kids.
Now Laters was my favorite. And it's another thing that Now Laters, Bit O' Honey.
Bit O' Honey. That was back when penny candy was actually one penny.
Yeah.
Like you take $1 up there and get 100 pieces, but then you like, or you can be smart about it and say, I want 25 of these, 25 of these. Let me get 25 of these, 15 of these, and 10 of these.
Yeah.
You be thinking like, man, you got a bag full of stuff.
Yeah.
For $1.
And the Laffy Taffies. I like the banana ones.
And I like the apple.
Okay.
The apple.
Yeah. So my brother and my cousin sister Kelly. Hey Kelly. They used to get so mad at me.
Why?
Because my aunt, we would go to my aunt's house, right? And she would tell us to go outside and sit on the porch, but don't move.
Yeah.
So I was like, I ain't moving. I'm scared of Auntie Nina. She was sweet as a woman, but I was like, I'm scared of Auntie Nina. So my brother and my cousin would invariably get up every time and say, let's go to the candy store. I was like, I ain't going. But I got $1. So I would give them my money to get my stuff.
You sent them on that
I
mission.
sent them on the mission. No, they was going on the mission. I didn't send them nowhere. They was going on the mission. Why not, look out for your girl?
Yeah.
You know?
But you wasn't going nowhere,
I
right?
wasn't going no.
Yeah.
So my aunt would come out and she'd say, Josie, where'd they go? And I'm like, they went to the candy store.
Snitched on her family, y'all. Y'all hear that? She snitched on her brother and her cousin.
I did. I'm not a snitch anymore. I'm reformed now. But they would come back and they get in trouble. But I still have my candy. So they would get mad at me because they would eat their candy and I would hold on to mine. And then when they didn't have any, I'm still eating my candy. Would you be mad about that?
No, you were smart.
Yeah, I thought so.
I wouldn't say I'd be mad. I'd be mad that you told on me though.
Yeah, I shouldn't have did that.
You was supposed to be my dog. You my family. We like this, and you gave me money on this mission.
I did. But what was I supposed to say? I don't know.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know nothing. Hear no evil, see no evil. See?
Oh my God.
See? You got to look out for your people, right? But let's get back on subject, man. It takes a village, right?
Yeah.
And this is the neighborhood that I come from. You hear the neighborhood she came from. Same city, two different sides of the city, but we had a community, though. So fast forward to this day, and years pass, you don't really see that no more. It went from a neighborhood to just a hood.
Wow.
Because we don't know the neighbors no more.
Mm-hmm.
We went from a neighborhood to just the hood. Because nobody know the neighbors. Nobody even care to know the neighbors. I'm trying to personally get out of that because we've been in this mindset for so long now. Mm-hmm. It's like you move somewhere and you go somewhere and you just mind your business. And you really never get to build no relationships like that.
Yeah.
You never really get to network. You never know who God might have you meet, or might want you to help, or someone might need to help you. I mean, you never know, because iron sharpens iron, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't meet nobody, then you don't know. But we're supposed to love our neighbors as ourselves. But today, most people don't know their neighbors. They don't even try to know their neighbors.
So we would play hopscotch. You know how we would get the chalk and draw little lines and play hopscotch on the sidewalk. Double dutch, jump rope. Me and my brother would play baseball because it was just the two of us, growing up. And we wasn't allowed to just go off the porch and just wander off. We had to ask first. I remember, playing with the sprinkler system. You know how we put on the shorts and go outside and just run in the sprinkler and drink water out of the water hose.
Yeah.
That was the best water ever. World. I know, right?
Especially on a hot day.
Yeah.
After you've been playing and you sweating and you get that water out the hose.
Yeah.
Man, did y'all ever do the fire hydrant over there?
We did the fire hydrant when I was much younger, and we grew up on 11th Avenue. They would always open up that fire hydrant.
Oh, okay.
And the streets would be flooded, but it would cool it off on those hot days.
Yeah.
And they open up those fire hydrants. Yeah. It would be so cool outside then. Isn't that weird how it just cools off the whole?
Yes.
Now the water pressure in the house might be a little low.
Right. But see, what was special about those times for me was because we already talked about the community and everybody knowing everybody, right?
Yeah.
So what was special was when you thought you was getting away with something, and just say Mrs. Hayes. Mrs. Hayes see you and yell your name, but you had respect for Mrs. Hayes, right? Mm-hmm. She can chastise you, she can discipline you with her words, and back then they even had permission to whoop you if they needed to, and then you might mess around and get another whooping at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, that's what's missing today. Because kids have, first of all, kids have no fear
Right.
or no respect for the adults.
Oh yeah.
And then we have parents today that take up in their kids wrong and disrespect.
Yeah.
So you better not say nothing to my kid. You better not put your hands on my kid, or I'm gonna come put my hands on you.
Yeah.
Or and then if they escalate it, they might even pull a pistol on you.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now people was like, I'm not gonna say none of that, young man. But see, the discipline in the neighborhood from the people that loved you kind of corrected you before the world got to discipline you.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the world disciplines you, you might end up dead
It's
or in
ugly.
jail.
Yes.
You know, it's real ugly because there's no love behind it.
No.
You know it's love when it's coming from the people in your neighborhood that know you, know your family, know where you come from, the stock you come from. So they want to protect you and they want to correct you.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of miss that in the world because that's real love. Real love is correction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss it a lot. I miss it. Even just in the industry that I work in, seeing the young girls have the apartment for the first time, and because they weren't taught um, discipline, or even as far as being on time and
Yeah.
just all the things that you should, you know, learn growing up, respecting your elders, and then that teach you how to respect your bosses, respect authority.
Yeah.
It's sad when I had an incident where a young lady was late with her rent. So of course, you know, there's consequences, right?
Right.
So she was charged a $100 late fee, and she thought that because she got her money order on the 3rd, when she dropped it off on the 6th, she wouldn't get that late fee. You still getting a late fee? She like, but I thought I dropped it off on the 3rd. I said no. She said, well, my money order said the 3rd.
Her money order said the 3rd,
Mm-hmm.
but she dropped it off on the 6th.
On the 6th.
So when do the late fees occur?
On the 6th.
On the 6th. So
But
after the 5th, you late.
After the 5th, you late.
Okay. So she thought because the money order dated
the 3rd that she wouldn't be charged a late fee.
Okay.
So I explained that to her, and she was, you know, obviously sad on the phone. And I told her, I said, you know what? This time I will waive the late fee for you. But moving forward, if you drop it off after the 5th, you'll receive a late fee. So she was like, okay. Got off the phone. About 20 minutes later, her mother decided to call me.
Uh-oh.
And tell me that I spoke to her daughter like she was a child. No. I told your daughter that she can't hold on to a money order. The money order has to be dropped off before the 5th in order to not receive a late fee.
Right.
So her mom was like, well, this is my daughter's first apartment. And I'm thinking, is she serious? So I asked her, did your daughter tell you I waived the late fee? Well, yeah, she told me that, but you know, she feel like a child. This is her first apartment. I'm thinking, what she should have told her daughter was, well, baby, you was late. I'm going to give you some money on this late fee. But if you can't, then let her know there's consequences. You can't do what you want to do out here.
Right.
This world does not love you like your parents love you. And loving is discipline, first of all. Let's say that.
She could have used that as a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
That should have been a teachable moment. And that should have been a learning lesson. Hopefully it was, though. Well, a learning lesson for her daughter.
Yeah.
Right?
I think a lot of times we think if we take up for our kids and go to bat for them in whatever situation, that's love. But that's not love.
No.
That's not love.
Not in there wrong.
No.
Not in there wrong.
No.
You know, unless you're talking about protecting your kids from some type of danger or some type of physical harm or something like that, some type of abuse.
Absolutely.
Then of course. But when you got life situations and life moments like that, we take the training wheels off our kids, knowing that they might fall sometime, and we're there to catch them, but we're not there to shield and protect them in such a way to where we enabling them, you know. So that situation was kind of sound like that to me. She put a cape on, but at the wrong time.
At the wrong time.
Yeah. Like it was unnecessary at that time. It takes a village, y'all. It takes a village. And when I just think about the state that we're in, and I'm thinking like, how do we get back to that?
Mm.
Like, where did we go wrong? First of all, where did we go wrong? I think we went wrong when I don't know what generation you think, but I kind of feel like it was our generation.
I don't. I kind of think it was our parents' generation.
So you think it started there?
I think it started there because if you think about it, our grandparents were really strict. Like I grew up in the house of my great grandmother, my grandmother, and my mom. So I had three generations of strong women, but my great grandmother didn't play. Flavor Coffee did not play, okay? And she was one of those that, as I listened to my mom's stories, how if the street lights came on and they wasn't in the house, she would go get a butcher knife and walk down the street.
Looking for her kids.
With a butcher knife, though, that scared the mess out of me. You won't have to worry about me with no light. I'm coming in at shoot, never mind. But then I ain't going outside. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
So, I think those kind of situations, those parents back then, scared their our parents to the point where they were like, "Well, I'm not doing that to my kid." So no, we didn't get the street lights. My mom didn't tell me to come in when the street lights came on. I actually, but I wasn't out there like that because I was one of those that I only need to get in trouble one time. I wasn't doing it no more.
Right.
So for the average kid, if you know you're not gonna get in trouble for it, then you're like, well, let me go ahead and stay out a little bit later. Now, granted, we did have curfews. We didn't have to come in when the street lights came on.
Right.
So they stopped doing that, and gradually they just stopped doing little bitty things here and there. And then when it got to us in our generation, we thought that what they did was bad. So
Yeah.
it just keeps on. Oh, that was too bad for me. I'm not gonna do my kids like that. Oh, well, that was too bad for me. I'm not gonna do my kids like that. And
Yeah.
now it's just like, man,
We gave our kids way too much freedom, and then we said, well, for example, a lot of us was raised in the church. I wasn't, but I was raised in a house that knew about God
Right.
and believed in God.
Right.
And it wasn't necessarily in church, but we knew about God.
Mm-hmm.
So in our generation, we had one or the other. Either you was raised in a church or you was raised in some type of spiritual awareness.
Yeah.
Where you didn't disrespect God, you acknowledged God, all of that, right? But I felt like in our generation, we stopped taking our kids to church.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped teaching them about God. And we just gave our children more and more freedom. We even said that we wasn't going to spank our kids no more, And scripture tells us, it says, spare the rod, spoil the child. So it encourages us to whip our children.
Yeah.
Not abuse, not beat, but whip our children.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people confuse it. They think it's all the same thing.
Right.
But spare the rod, spoil the child. Think about spoiled milk. Do you want that? Think about any food that is spoiled. Do you want that? Now think about your child being spoiled. Do anybody want that?
No.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Boy or girl, the scripture says, I think it's Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. Right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to train up a child in the way that they should go. Not in the way that they feel like they should go. In the way that you wanted to go. See, a lot of times we letting kids dictate what gender they're going to be. Just everything. We letting the kids dictate when we as the parents are responsible for training them up in the way that they should go. See, as long as you do your part, we do our part as parents. Then when they get old enough and they just say they happen to decide to do something totally opposite in the way that you raised them, at least you know you did your part.
Right.
As the parent. But you ain't let them choose, you ain't let them dictate. Right? So I believe that we did a lot of things wrong and we paying for it today. We paying for it. As grown as I am a lover of cartoons. I don't watch them nearly as much as I used to, but um, I still enjoy them whenever I
Mm-hmm.
can catch them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, baby, I collect cartoons. I got a
Yes,
whole
he
bunch of
does.
old school cartoon DVDs, that stuff that we grew up on. And one of my favorite cartoons when I was younger was the Smurfs.
Me too.
Did you like
I
Smurfs?
love Smurfs. I wasn't a cartoon watcher. I never really did cartoons. I've always been more of a serious
Yeah.
kid.
Sitcom, right?
Yeah, sitcoms, but not cartoons. But I did like this. The Smurfs was more of a sitcom to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You
you
ain't.
had like the little family
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting at.
and Daddy.
That's what I'm getting
Yeah,
at,
Pop
right?
Smurf.
So
Yeah,
they had the Smurf village,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The Smurf village. So everybody, of course, they the Smurfs. They all knew each other in this village. They all lived amongst each other. They all got along. They all loved one another. Like you seen the love exude off the screen, just like you would see, like we just talked about Bel Air.
Mm-hmm.
No, Bel Air and Kanye's relationship with his mom, right? You see the love exude off the Smurfs because they had the village, right? In the village, everybody looked out for one another. Everybody loved one another, and Papa Smurf was the elder in the village, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody respected Papa Smurf. Nobody disrespect Papa Smurf. You ever seen anybody disrespect Papa Smurf?
No, Pop Smurf was cool though.
And Smurfette was the only
Only
lady
girl.
Smurf, only girl.
Yeah.
They all loved Smurfette, right? They all looked out for Smurfette.
Yeah.
They protected Smurfette. And what I loved about the Smurfs was they was truly a family. When one was in trouble, all was in trouble, and they all try to figure out how to get that person out of trouble. Nobody better not mess with Smurfette. And the enemy was the guy name was Gargamel.
Gargamel. Yeah.
Gargamel. And Gargamel couldn't go bother the Smurfs without them trying to formulate a plan to get Gargamel out of there or defeat him in some kind of way. Gargamel couldn't go messing with Smurfette. None of the Smurfs. They all stood together, right?
Yeah.
Because they was a village. They protected the village, and that's how we got to get back to. We got to get back to that village. So when the Gargamel in our today,
Mm-hmm.
aka the drug dealer, the rapist, the pedophile, when they come with that Gargamel spirit and try to destroy the village, we got to know how to protect one another. We got to be there for one another. We got to keep those type of people out of our village. But we don't do that no more. We turn our head
Mm-hmm.
and let Gargamel come through and destroy everything and everybody and act like we don't see nothing and we don't know nothing. How do we get the village back, man? How do we get the village back? So I'm one who believes it still takes a village. We was just talking to our daughter yesterday. It was just about her future goals, short-term goals, what she want to do next. And we was talking to her about not only establishing relationships, but maintaining relationships
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing the power of her network,
Mm-hmm.
and paying attention to everything that she's learning in her field, all the people that she's building relationships with, and the importance of not burning bridges because it takes a village. We all need each other, right, to be successful.
And I
And
think it's important. It's important for us as parents to realize that yes, we are parents. Our children become adults, and we have to learn the lines between being the parent and respecting them as adults. But it's still a time that we can always a time we can impart wisdom
yeah,
on our children. My mother, shoot, we 45 years old, and my mom still can tell me some things to this day. I don't think that I'm too grown to listen to my mother, and I don't want her to ever feel like I'm so grown that she can't tell me something. Now, of course, we have to say things with respect and love,
yeah,
because they are adults and we are adults, so we expect that,
Respect and
respect from
love
one
in
another.
return, right?
But you can't, I mean, just to say, oh, well, they grown, I'm not going to say nothing. Well, when did people start doing that? You know?
Right, right. Yeah, man. We gotta be willing to pour out that wisdom, to give advice. We see our people, our loved ones going in the wrong direction. We got to be willing to say something, speak on it. And as people who might be on the other side of that, we gotta not have so much pride to where we feel offended
Right.
if somebody want to tell us something,
Yeah.
or advise us to do something different. We got to be willing to listen. God uses anybody,
Yeah.
uses everybody. We might think that we too old, or this person ain't been through this, so we don't need to listen to them. But God can use anybody to open your eyes to a new perspective.
Yeah. Our sister, Monique, a few months ago, touched a little bit on just females going out the house with bonnets on their head,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
wearing pajamas out
Forgot
in
about that.
public. And when I tell you, she got so much flack in the beginning about it, and I hadn't even watched the video yet. But when I watched the video, I was amen in that sister because she was right.
Yeah,
When people come into my leasing office and they get on bonnets looking for an apartment and pajamas, I don't want you living in the market. No, I'm afraid you're going. What you gonna do to that apartment? And it's not judging. It's not judging. We have to have pride. When are we gonna bring that pride back? Where you care about yourself.
yeah.
But we got to teach our kids that. We got to teach our kids how to take care. Get up, put some clothes on. Don't just roll out the bed. Comb your hair.
Right.
Put some clothes on.
Yeah.
Even if you're not going nowhere today, get up, wash yourself up, put some clothes on. That's what we had to do back in the day.
Comb your hair.
Yeah.
We gotta bring black excellence back, right? And not just for black folks, but just people just learning to show love yourself, self-care.
Yeah.
Right? Self-care. So when you go out and present yourself to the world, you want to present the best you. So we've learned today to accept everything and not say nothing about anything, right? Because we feel like we're being judgmental, but not. You're encouraging your kids to look the best. When you look your best, you feel your best.
Yes.
And then you get better results out of other people. So that's what we want to strive toward, just excellence, man. And we want to encourage one another to keep building each other up, and not be scared to speak on stuff that you might feel strongly about. A lot of times it'd be a lot of people who agree with you when you say some things, or when you want to say certain things, but you don't say it because you might come off as judgmental. You don't know how someone might take it. But man, look, the way we grew up wasn't wrong.
Right.
It wasn't wrong. We grew up with tougher skin. Sometimes tough love is the best love. The truth hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
Everything somebody tell you ain't supposed to feel good, sound good. When you read the ministry of Jesus and scriptures in the Bible, man, some of that truth was harsh, coming from whether it was Jesus, Paul, Peter, any one of the disciples. When they spoke, a lot of times it was harsh, but it was truth, and it was the word of God. They say the truth hurts, and the word of God is like a sword, so it cuts. It don't always feel good. A cut leave a wound sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? So it don't always feel good, but it serves a greater purpose to steer you in another direction, or to impart some wisdom in you. So,
and I hope that everybody understands that we're talking about from your children to your friendships to any relationship. It takes a village. I literally saw somebody a few weeks ago. They were sitting around me, They were on the phone having a conversation with this with another female, and they were like, "Yeah, girl, yeah, if I was you, I would do that. Yeah, you right, you right. Yeah, I would. Yeah, you right, and that's what you need to do. And yeah, because you know, black people when they do this, that, and got off the phone and was telling me the scenario of what was happening, and said, girl, yeah, she be messing up. I don't say nothing because you know this that, and I'm thinking, but you just agree with everything that she said on the phone,
Right.
and I want to know how is that helping her? If you got somebody in your life like that, man, they say if you got friends like that, you don't need no enemies.
Yeah, they call them frenemies.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and I catch a lot of slack for that because my friends, I tell them the truth. I just come right out and say it. And they're like, you didn't have to say it like that. And sometimes I probably don't. But the thing is, you got to give tough love sometimes. I want my friends to be excellent. So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, man, girl, no, you don't need to do that. No, shouldn't have said that like that. Now, you know your child just did X, Y, Z. Yes, I'm going to tell you. And I expect for you to do the same thing for me. Tell me.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if nobody ever tells me, then how do I know? If everybody doing what that person did, and then they go behind my back and say something.
Here's the thing: you have to have a humble spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to love your friends, and you have to trust that they love you.
Yeah.
In other words, because besides that, you're not going to receive it well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we live in a hypersensitivity society right now, where everybody's offended over every little thing. But if you chose this person to be your friend and you guys spend time with one another, you at each other's homes, you break bread, your friend should be able to tell you something that might not even feel so good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They should. They earn that right. And you earn that right with them as well. It's a two-way street.
That's right.
Vice versa. If you see me doing something crazy or talking crazy or
please tell
being in total contradiction to who I said I am, pull my coattail.
Please do.
Ask me about it. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you got a valid point, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. And, we might have a conversation about it or we might not.
I mean, because
I might accept everything you said, but I didn't see it that way at the time when I was doing it. So I respect the fact that you call me out on that or you question that.
And I might not accept it in the beginning. Because, our attorneys come out in the beginning.
Yeah. Everybody got their little attorney that's on the side. They want to come to your defense.
Everybody.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It may not be until a week later when I'm thinking and I'm like, yeah, he was right. She was right.
So at the end of the day, when we break down the word community, it means common unity. So there's a common unity that we all, if we're in a relationship like we are, we both want to see each other win. Now we're one because we're married, but in our individual lives, the stuff that we got going on and when we having a conversation, especially when something's stemming from our past or if we're going through something with our friends or family members and we talk, we have a common unity. We want to see each other win. So we both want to see each other be the best us we can be so we can be the best us for our family and our friends, right? So ultimately, that's what it is. That's what community is all about. You don't want to be the person who sees your loved one, whether it's a friend or family member, going off the rails. They on a train wreck. But publicly and to their face, you're agreeing with everything they doing and saying. But privately, you disagree. You don't want to be that type of friend. And if you are that type of friend, if you can't even be real with the person that you call your friend, that's not really a friendship. I hate to break that news to you as well. But it takes a village, man. In the beginning, and still to this day, you got God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. That's an example. That's our first family right there. And even they're not alone. Even they are a family, right? They move in unity. They're an example of how we are to move and operate, right? The body of Christ. which is the church, a community of believers that believe the same thing. We hold each other accountable. We love on one another. We a village within the church. So we all need each other, y'all. The world try to put us all against one another, whether it's church folks, believers and unbelievers, man and woman, black, white, Democrat, Republican. We can go on and on. Blood, Crip, on and on, right? Rich, poor. The world try to pit us all against each other and try to divide us with our differences. But if we bring the village back, if we bring the village mentality back, the community mindset back, we can all move in love and unity and start to rebuild a world that we once knew that was so much better than what we have right now. And with that said, y'all, another episode of Love Seek Dialogue. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And the main message this evening is it still takes a village. One, yeah.